Triply EDC back again with another knife video. This is the Benchmade Claymore. This is a new offering from Benchmade for this year, and it's a really interesting offering. I didn't think I would end up getting, mainly because it is a combo edge, right? A lot of people don't like the combo edges. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons, and we'll talk about it. So first of all, size comparisons here is the Spyderco Endura. So it's really about the same size as an Endura overall. Here is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and Para 3. So you can see it's actually bigger than both of those. Here is the Benchmade Super Freak. Whoop. And the Benchmade Griptilian. Sorry, losing track of my knives over here. You can see it's bigger than both of those. So it's actually fairly a large knife. Like I said, bigger than the PM2, bigger than both the Freak and the Griptilian. And perhaps the most interesting thing, and we'll get right here into the good, is the action on this. The action on this is amazing. And I do not say that about Benchmade out-the-side autos, particularly not ones that aren't the axis lock autos, right? The axis lock autos traditionally have been Benchmade's best autos for how hard they hit, especially the Adamas, right? A lot of the out-the-side autos that Benchmade has over the years have had really soft springs, just disappointingly soft, you know? It's just, every time I pick it up, I'm like disappointed. Like, the word flaccid, sort of pops in my head. I know that's not really a picture you want to see, but that's sort of what pops in my head when those Benchmade soft springs. This thing, though, boom! Like, this thing is really, kicking. Let's go ahead and look at this, right? And you can really hear that snap and that reverberation. You can see. Let's go ahead and put it up against a ProTech. That's right. It actually hits harder than the ProTech, which is amazing. ProTech is known for how hard their out-the-sides hit. This thing really hits hard. I mean, this thing hits pretty hard too. Don't get me wrong, the Adamas, but a lot of the button lock ones from Benchmade are just not good. This one is amazing. I'm just blown away. Great job, Benchmade, on the spring on this. Do more out-the-sides like this. Do more out the sides like this. I will buy them if you do them like this. Okay, that is my speech on that. Next thing is, this comes with probably my favorite Benchmade clip, the Parkerized deep carry clip. I love this clip. It is the best thing they make, in my opinion. So I like the fact that it comes with that clip. The ergonomics on here are better than you think. I'll rate them at a 7 overall, just because of a couple of things which I'll talk about, but they really feel better than that. So it's sort of an awkward handle shape, but it really does feel good in the hand. And if you use that hammer grip, it really feels good like this. If you put your thumb back here, it does become uncomfortable. I am a size large left hand. It does become uncomfortable if you come back here, but as long as you're in that choke up position, your fingers fit well in there. Like I said, size large left hand. This point fits right in between my two middle and ring fingers, and the rest of the hand fits right on, and you get a nice hammer grip on, and you can really go to town, right? Next, when you are in that hammer grip, so this in particular acts a lot like the tops, the tops. You'll see, like, look, it does like this. I don't know if I can do it on cardboard, but with wood you could do it. It sort of works to like shave, right? When you're in that little serration, so you can actually use that. It's almost for feather sticking or something. It actually works pretty good because it has that really large choil right there that goes right underneath the blade. It actually works pretty well for that. And when you're in this grip, you can actually get some good traction on it. So that's pretty cool. The next thing is this amount of blade does a lot more than you would think it would do. I thought that I was not going to be you know, enthralled with the fact that this has a combo edge. It is nice with a combo edge. You can, you know, saw through things when you need to, right? This is a double thick cardboard, but you really can, with that edge up top, you can really, you know, cut pretty well through double thick cardboard. I mean, look at that, right? Sorry, that was a user error, but this is double thick cardboard and I'm going through it pretty good. So that's great. And this cardboard, by the way, is black and white. That's why you're seeing the residue on the blade here. Yeah, this is a great great thing overall. I believe the coating on here is Cerakote. You guys can correct me in the comments, but Cerakote will hold up for the most part. It'll have some degradation over time with abrasives, but generally it holds up pretty well. This is CPM D2 as the steel. This is the first time that Benchmade has done CPM D2. I've mentioned before that I thought Benchmade's D2 was CPM D2 because I've seen other people talk about that. The truth is that apparently this is the first time that Benchmade has used CPM D2, and there is a big difference between regular D2 and CPM D2. As far as CPM is the crucible powder metallurgy, they use powder steel. It allows for a more uniform grain structure. D2 has, you know, large grain structure, so the powder metallurgy form of it actually makes a big difference. Something like 154 cm has fine grain structure already, so putting it in powder form doesn't give it a huge advantage, which is, you know, what ProTech will tell you if you ask them why they use 154 cm versus CPM 154, because it just doesn't make a big enough difference to warrant the extra cost, right? But with D2 and CPM D2, it makes a huge difference. So while CPM D2 probably wouldn't have been my first choice for this, it's not a bad choice at this price point. You know, people will look at it and say, oh, well, for 200 bucks you're getting other steels. I mean, CPM D2 is a very comparable steel to what ProTech offers at this, you know, at this price point, and it is a very comparable steel to what a lot of other out the side auto companies will produce. So I don't think in that regard it is bad at all. The next thing on this knife is it does have a locking feature. So you can lock this and it'll prevent the blade from deploying. If you lock it and then lock it again, it stops it from closing. I'm sort of indifferent. I don't necessarily feel the need to have locks on my automatics, but some people prefer them and it doesn't get in the way, so it's not really that big of a deal. So that's good. As far as the blade shape goes, you know, you have a nice wedge here. It keeps some lateral strength, you know, with some thickness all the way through the tip, which is great. So you get a nice piercing tip. You get that edge that we talked about and some serrations here. Why do you need serrations? Serrations cut through man-made things like paracord much better than regular plain edge. Does it make a huge difference if you keep your knife sharp? No, but a lot of times in the field, this will dull, and it's good to have something like this that dulls a lot slower. Serrations do dull a lot slower than you know, than a plain edge, so therefore in the field it's much nicer to use. This is part of the black class, so it makes sense to talk about use in the field. I am not a tactical guy, so you know, don't you know, if you're a Leo or whatever, you know, take what I have to say with a grain of salt. But I've touched and used enough knives to, you know, I pretty much know what I'm talking about here. You know, I wouldn't talk about tactics. There is Morse code here, which I think is cool. I don't know exactly what that says. If you know what that says, down below, let me know. I think I looked it up once, but it didn't make sense. Maybe I read it wrong. But go ahead and comment below. Let me know what that says. I believe that is Morse code. But I think it's kind of cool. Claymore, of course, is a landmine, so you know, that's where it gets its name from. This does come in a black version and this OD green handled version. I believe both versions have the same blade. This is grivery, so you know, one of the negatives here is this is grivery, which is the same substance, plastic substance you're going to find on, you know, the base model Griptilians and everything. I think at this price point they really could have given us G10 or even aluminum. You know, even if they had to charge us $10, $15 more, $20 more, you know, putting aluminum or G10 on this I think would have made a big difference in the feel. As it is, the handle feels really light, and so when you first get this, you know, the handle has sort of that very light, airy Griptilian, feeling, which is kind of weird for a knife that's supposed to be black glass. But then you get it in hand, and look, it's a high impact plastic. It's probably not going to break. And I think it'll serve most tactical purposes pretty well, unless you're really, putting a lot of stress on the handle. This does have cartridge liners, as you can see here. You've got these 2 screws here and here. What that means is you see those where the screws come in. It's a plastic liner basically from here all the way back, and then you have metal liners in here that extend to about right here. Those are the cartridges. So I don't know if you can see that in there, but that is the type of construction you're looking at. If you are looking at the handles and saying, hey, I don't think this Grivory is going to stand up to the test, and along with the cartridge liners, I will refer you to DBK's destruction testing of the Super Freak. Now, I understand this is an axis lock versus a button lock, but this is also a cartridge liner, right? Look inside of here. It's a cartridge liner. You can see them here. They do extend a little bit farther back, so it gives it a little bit more stability than you can see the screw here versus the screw here. But look at DBK's video on this. They really put this to the test. They were batoning with it. They were doing all sorts of crazy stuff with the Super Freak, and it held up, right? So cartridge liners are stronger than you think, and I think for these purposes, it is fine. Just if you're in one of those professions that you're betting your life on a knife, I would prefer something with a little bit sturdier handles, either like the Adamas here, right? Or the Benchmade turret. Whoops. The Benchmade turret is going to have full liners as well. This is a knife they should not have discontinued. This is beautiful, beautiful knife. I feel really bad they discontinued it. But these are all sort of the black class knives that that you can look at as being really good go-tos. And there is the black bladed version of this is going to have that combo edge too. So, what are my conclusions of this knife overall? Well, first of all, let me mention the price here. This is about $200. I think it's $192 or $195 or something. It's about the same price as a Super Freak. Okay, I mention that because it's important to recognize that if you're asking me, should you buy this or should you buy this, I'm going to tell you to buy the Super Freak every day of the week. M4 steel is superior to D2, even CPM D2. It's a lot tougher and has higher impact resistance. It's less corrosion resistant, but both of these blades are coated, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. This is G10, right? And you're talking basically about the same price. So unless you really like that action, and this has excellent auto action. Unless you really like that auto action or you want an auto, then if you can live with the axis lock, this is hands down the better knife, right? Another thing to mention, just another option, is going to be this ProTech Rockeye. So this is the operator version of the Rockeye. The base version is going to run about $225, so about 25 to 30 bucks more than this. You're going to get S35 VN steel on the base version, and the base version is going to have a satin finish usually. This is going to have aluminum handles, which I much prefer to this. The action is not quite as good as the Claymore, which is crazy to say about a ProTech, but it is what it is. But the blade is nice and sturdy, and you get a nice full plane edge if that is what you're after. As far as stock goes, let's go ahead and do a stock comparison of these two, because I think it probably is a good thing to look at. I will also mention, just again, size comparison, you're getting a little bit more length. The handle's about the same, but a little bit more length on the blade on the Claymore. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So do I recommend this knife? I definitely recommend it if you are looking for a combo blade knife that is going to hold up very well to field use. Maybe not extremely heavy duty field use. If you're going to go extremely heavy duty, again, maybe be looking at that Benchmade turret, the Super Freak for some maybe not extreme, or the Benchmade Adamas, at least in the manual version. The automatic version is like another $100, closer to 300. But those are some other options in that price range. But I do recommend this overall. I mean, I think this is really light, right? If lightness matters to you, if you have to carry a heavy pack all the time, you know, this is going to be actually a better option than some of these other ones that I'm talking about, because it feels lighter, right? You know, if you're carrying a heavy pack all the time, you may not want to carry this, depending on whether you're carrying it in rigging or whatever you're carrying it in, right? So that's a consideration as well. And again, that action is just so good. Can't stop talking about it. I'm going to end here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get all my content. I do a ton of giveaways, guys, so keep tuned for the giveaways. Go ahead and drop that comment below. Let me know what you think of this. Did you pick one up? Are you interested in this? Does it bother you that this is a combo blade? I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much.